Main thing here. Hello, I don't know if you can hear me. Hello. It is Saturday and I am on here trying to do the OBS with the ghostly presence of my husband here. Am I good now? Perfect. My God. It feels like it's more complicated than it should be. Thank you so much to my husband for helping me all out, just setting this up, all this beautiful layout and everything else. I hope I can do this. Can we put the music a little bit down? I don't know where to do that. This here? This here? Okay. Well, as always, we go with a hitch, so hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. We're going to turn the music a little bit down, just so I don't have to raise my voice too much. And you can still hear me. Yeah, perfect. Now, that's great. Yes. Now I feel like in a broadcasting studio. Okay, now, guys. Hello. Like, how is it called in English? Double one, take two. Take 3. I will need probably empty of those. Last year when I was doing this, I was using Hangouts, and then yes, it is so much easier. Well, hello, and this is Saturday, and that means that usually we are not on at this time. But today I am on because of the very, very special occasion. And as you can see in my intro here, and as well the thumbnail, it is a Millions Missing Awareness Week, and we're going to be talking all about that. I will be telling you my story, and hopefully you are going to be sharing yours. But before that, as always, we're going to do a little bit of the house cleaning here, and I will say hi to you, and I really hope that you can share some of your selfies as well, and add not only hashtag Blue Range Root, but also hashtag Millions Missing to it, to raise awareness to this amazing cause. And if you're just joining in us here and you don't know what you stepped into, well, just hold on for a minute and I'm gonna let you know. Hello everybody. I would really appreciate if you can hit the like button, and of course if you can share. I really hope that you can share it with somebody that you know that would benefit from it, and even if you can just share it out on your social media, then Facebook, Twitter, anything like that would be really appreciated. It's free, and maybe someone just needs a place to listen to, or maybe even to join into our chat here. So if you have done already, and I've seen some of the shares, I do appreciate that a lot. If you haven't yet, that's okay as well. Just appreciate you being here. Hello, who do we have here? We have Linda's House of Chill, who I had on the panel. Well, I was on a panel together with Crohn's chick, that I'm not sure if she's in the chat, but we were talking about some of the subjects of today as well. 420 Wild Dragon is here. Alex Gomi, Brother John Speaks, Brocknex. Diana Johnson is here. Happy Lux joining us at the very late or morning, early night overseas as well. Lulu, love you. My beautiful lady here joining us. And yes, that Crohn's chick is right here. This is a subject right up your alley, and I hope you are gonna be active in the chat as much as you can, although I know it is pretty early out there in Australia right now. Ghana, hello. TCS Live, hello guys. I will be definitely saying hello to each and every one of you. This is no different from what we usually do at the beginnings of our live streams. Let me just open. I feel so weird in this place now, and very especially weird without my husband doing most of this stuff. It gets really hard when you have to do it all on your own. So the first thing what I want to do is definitely thank you so much, Crunchy, by the way, and Jackie for sharing our live stream. I want to encourage you to share it out, and let me just find here what I usually share with you. If you can, please retweet if you have a Twitter account. And really, as a YouTuber and creator, you should be having a Twitter account. If and if you have any other social medias, I would really appreciate that as well. There you go. I'm getting a hang of it, hopefully. Today we're going to be talking about chronic illnesses, invisible illnesses, something that touches a lot of people across the world. In fact, there is almost 10% of American population and around the same amount of population of the whole world that is suffering from some sort of invisible illnesses. And although the millions missing awareness is more focused on chronic fatigue syndrome, I always last year as well try to include and talk about different types of chronic illnesses, different types of invisible illnesses that touches us here as a community. So I will be talking about my story. I have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and later on with chronic fatigue syndrome as well. So I'll be sharing with you my story, my journey of how I got my diagnosis, and also how am I dealing with it, as well as different little tips and tricks. I have some props here prepared for you that I am using every day to deal with chronic pain. But of course, we are also going to go into the chat and see what you guys have to say. I see we are talking also about mental illness, which is also part of invisible illnesses as well. If you don't have chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia, you're still more than welcome here. If you have any other type of invisible chronic illnesses, you're more than welcome here and share your story. And if you maybe don't suffer with any kind of illness, you're also welcome here, because you never know, somebody close to you might be suffering from it. You might not even know it, because as it says invisible, that means that oftentimes we can't even tell when somebody is actually suffering from it. So everybody's welcome here. Just please be respectful to each other, and I hope we can chat about it. I see hashtag Fibro Warrior. That's right. Crohn's chick says hidden illnesses are such an important topic to talk about. Well done for chatting about it. Yes, thank you so much. And your channel is dedicated, Crohn's chick. Your channel is dedicated solely to it, and I really appreciate what you're doing. I really had a fun time being on your panel, but I also really appreciate what you are doing for the community with regards to raising awareness to different kind of chronic illnesses. So this is your realm for sure. I do this once a year. I did one last year at the same time, same date. You can see that last year's live stream up above in that little iCard, and see how this all looked a year ago. I just really think it's important to get involved and get more people informed, and also just provide a platform for people to talk about it. I think it is very important. And if you guys are looking for something on an everyday basis, maybe to chat within Crohn's Chick channel is definitely a place to go. Please say hi in the chat to everybody so everybody can see you and check you out as well. Guys, I just want to remind you again for a like and share of the live stream if you can. If you notice, I have disabled super chat today. I really think that it is important to focus on what we're talking about here and not about my story specifically, but the stories in general and what it symbolizes. I also think that there are different ways of supporting different awareness programs and fundraisers and things like that. So I chose this time not to choose any particular fundraising campaign to support. There are plenty of them out there that you can find if you would like to. But therefore, I also don't want to have it as any kind of self-profit stream today. I want to solely focus on the subject, and therefore super chat is disabled for today. Just wanted to let you know. Okay guys, well, I just wanted to remind you as always that I would love to see your selfies, and we are gonna try and switch to them when some of them are out there. And I'm gonna just add one more hashtag. Millions missing hashtag is gonna be trending tomorrow. Millions, because this initiative is gonna be internationally spread. Last year, the active campaigns events have been going on all across the world in more than 100 countries and even more this year. So if you feel like that you want to put your selfie up there, I would really appreciate that. We're gonna definitely show them off during our live stream here. And if you can add to our hashtag Blue Orange group, also at hashtag millions missing, I'd really appreciate that. So we can all raise awareness together, one picture at a time. Tasha Ridnor, thank you so much. I deal with pain every day, anxiety and depression too. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I do appreciate each and every one of you who will be or is already sharing your story. I know how hard it is sometimes to talk about it, but I also know how important it is to talk about it, and sometimes even just to be listened to, or even just to listen to somebody talking about it. So if you're just listening to us and not willing to chat in the chat, that's okay too. Just appreciate you being here, and hopefully it gives you some mental, emotional relief, so to say. As a disclaimer, I just wanted to say that I'm not a practitioner, I'm not a doctor, I'm not trying to cure anybody. I am, my professional degree is in clinical psychology, but currently I'm not a practitioner psychologist, so all my opinions are my personal ones, and I wouldn't treat them as a professional treatment suggestion or anything like that. It is my personal story, and really has nothing to do with my education, although we all know how, it still influences the way we think about things. So yeah, maybe somebody of you didn't know that I am a clinical psychologist. Well, used to be. Now I'm a YouTuber. Okay guys, well, I'm gonna say hi to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for coming in. For those who are just coming in, we are going to be talking about chronic illnesses and invisible illnesses. Particularly, I'm going to be talking about what is touching me, the chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. But we're also going to be discussing all the other different ailments that we have or we deal on a day-to-day basis. Jackie, the hardest thing about having chronic pain or arthritis is because I look fine. People think I'm being lazy, even my friends and family. Yes, and that is a huge topic, and we'll definitely be touching on that because it's definitely a huge part of it. That's why it is called invisible illness, and unfortunately part of the burden of having it is having to prove sometimes on a daily basis that we actually do have it, and the emotional background, the emotional baggage that we carry with it, sometimes guilt, sometimes anger, We'll get into that as well. And yes, thank you so much. I see you guys sharing your stories already. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. This is so amazing. I really hope that you can share it out more as I will say hi to each and every one of you. And if you can put that selfie up there, I'd really appreciate that too. So let's see, who do we have here today? Let me see, who do we have? Okay, so let me say hi to each and every one of you. Hello and hi. Work Legend 01, hello. West Haven, always and forever, good to see you. Uniquely Jacqueline, Tyler Stone is here. TS Bangla 1, Travel Odysseys to Some Discoveries. Takunda Latona TV, The Jedi Balloon Master, That Crown Stick, Tham's World, Terror Firma, Teacup, Tasha Ridnor, Syntax AI, STP South Texas Prepper is here, Sticky Buds 420, Steve's Fun Adventures, Sarah's Abstract Expressions, Sandy K, Pure Ostensions, Hello, Project Pops, Parajunkie 22, Nikki Loves Love Mukbang ASMR, Mystic Mountain Forge, Michaela Hallmark, Melissa Kelly, Manu and Ronnie, Linda's House of Chill, Living Your Best Life, hello, Chris's Channel, Joy Reigns, Josh Myers United, Jessica G, JDS Squads, Jackie Haru Food Reviews, Happy Lux, Gunna, Finley River Kennels Jr., Exploration Obsession, Dustin Johnson, Dominic Williams, Jason Guns Outdoors, Brant Ariels, Bossy, Big Steve, ENT, Big Rob, aka Godfather Scratcher, Bella Jen, Artco Drone Solutions, and Above and Beyond Drones. Hello, each and every one of you. And if I missed you, if you just joined us, say hello in the chat. I would like to say hi to you as well. Ricky Dove, hello, how are you doing? Technical Air Bind, hello. Good to see everybody here. Bossy, hello. Thank you so much for joining us. If I missed you, I do apologize. I hope you can say hi in the chat. If you're just listening, hope you can say hello as well, but it's okay if you don't. I know this subject can be very sensitive, and it's okay if you just listen. I think it's even it's more beneficial if you can even if you can just listen. It's still beneficial, I hope, for you as well. Let me see here. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. Tomorrow is Grant McIntosh. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Happy Mother's Day, RigZet23. Yes, I know in Australia it is already Mother's Day, and in some places in Europe as well. So happy Mother's Day to those of you that are mothers. As I was mentioning in our previous live streams, if it happens that you have lost your mom, or maybe you don't have your own kids, you know what? It's a celebration of life, and that's how I see this day. It's not just for mothers, it is a symbolic celebration of life in general, and we all had to start somewhere. So even if you don't have kids of your own, I think it is a great time to celebrate life. Let me see here if we have anything on Twitter. This is really hard when you're alone. You know what, guys? It is, okay. Well, let me see if I can now try and get it somewhere where I can share it. And in the meantime, just wanted to remind you that today it is not a shout out stream, so please, no direct self-promoting, okay? Let's try to be good with each other. Okay. Thank you so much for all the retweets I see already. It's never too late to put your hashtag Blue Range Group, hashtag millionsmissing on Twitter or anywhere else as well. I really appreciate that. I'm definitely going to be featuring, if you put it on Instagram, I will definitely going to be featuring it on our Instagram stories as well, especially tomorrow. Tomorrow is the official day. The 12th of May actually is the official day of raising awareness for this amazing cause. But because we have our live stream, our regular live stream tomorrow, and because it is Mother's Day, I decided to do it beforehand. Okay, now, there's just, as Andrew says, too many windows to open. Guys, I hope you can help me out if there is somebody new coming in. Phantom Flight 101, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. I don't mind mother in my life. Oh well, thank you, Sarah. I really think so. That's how I see tomorrow. But I do suffer from anxiety. Syntax AI, thank you so much. Blended Whiskey, hello. HB Finnegan, hello as well. Coffee Music, yes, I hear you. Yes, we're gonna dive right into that. Let me see some of the pictures here, and there you go. Let me scroll down here and see where we can land at some of them. Don't forget to add that hashtag, because then it's going to be very hard to for me to see otherwise. The Early Kitten, thank you so much for sharing it. Thank you so much, always shouting us out. That Ron's Chick, thank you so much for letting your community know as well. We have Jackie Haru, who has shared our stream as well, and hashtag Blue Ranch Troop. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Miss Kelly T, hello, how are you doing? Hadley's famous FPV, good to see you as well. Thank you. Gil Skills is here. Hello, how are you doing? Digital Noisy, hello. Happy Mother's Day. Yes, well, thank you so much, guys. If you're missing a Blue Ranch, don't worry, you're gonna get there eventually soon. Usually everybody by the end of the stream has their blue wrenches. Jackie added some more pictures here. Love that. Yes, hashtag me action, hashtag Blue Wrench Group. Love it. Thank you so much. It is beautiful. Love your glasses. Thank you so much. Alan Outdoors, how are you doing? Tham's World, good to see you. Thank you so much. Yes, let me heart those as well. Thank you so much. The Kronstick. I don't know.
See you in the next one. Great live stream, sweetheart. Keep up the good work. See you in the next one. Great.
Thank you so much, Kronstick. Thank you so much. Syntax AI here as well. Thank you so much for sharing it. Linda's House of Chill sharing her selfie as well. Thank you so much. NKM, hello, how are you doing? Thank you so much. Thank you. Because of some of your guys' names, it's hard to determine if I can tell you Happy Mother's Day or not. So don't be offended if I say to you as well. As I say, it is for me, it is more a celebration of life. My old ladies cooking show, hello, how are you doing? We are right now looking at our hashtag Blue Ranch Group selfies, also hashtag millionsmissing selfie. And we have here, now did I heart it? Yes, I did. And we also have here Sarah's Abstract Expressions with her boyfriend that joined us. I think it was in the last stream. Millions Missing, Blue Ranch Group. That is awesome. Thank you so much. That is amazing. You guys are so sweet, such sweethearts. Thank you so much for sharing it. Sarah's Abstract Expressions, thank you so much. And Uniquely Jacqueline, thank you so much for sharing it as well. Love that. I noticed that there's some of them that are not tagged with Blue Ranch Group, but I will find them anyway. There you go. That is Coffee Music. Coffee Music, thank you so much. Chronic illness is hard to deal with alone. Tonight you're not alone. Come hear stories of people just like you. Thank you. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Coffee Music, really appreciate that. Thank you. I really hope that I didn't miss any of them. Thank you for all the retweets and all of that. Thank you so much. There you go. We're gonna definitely jump back to them once there are some new ones coming in as well. So thank you. Anthony Holmes Outdoors, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you here. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Joy Rains here as well. Thank you so much. You know, it is a topic that it is harder than you think to talk about. And I think sometimes we really need a pull to talk about it ourselves, myself included. In fact, Kidney Jerk, hello, how are you doing? In fact, last year when I was doing my live stream for the first time, talking about it as a part of Millions Missing global campaign, I think it was really the first time I was actually talking about my own story, not only in a live stream, because literally we have just recently have been starting our live streams last year at this time, but also to myself. And I think as part of talking about that, it's very important to understand that it is very beneficial to people that can listen to you, of course, and get involved in the conversation. But also, apparently, it is very beneficial to you, to yourself. So although we don't like talking a lot about our ailments oftentimes, and especially when it is something invisible, something that can't be really told unless you talk about it. It is important that we talk about it to ourselves as well, so we understand what is going on with us, so we accept it more and understand how to cope and how to deal with it, which is a whole process on its own. So I will talk a little bit about theory as well. I talked a little bit more about different types of symptoms and diagnosis and all of that in my live stream last year. That all is still valid and it is available in that link up above. So if you're interested into theory part, you can definitely jump into that. I will touch a little bit on different symptomatics of what I have, so we can discuss that, and of course discuss what you guys are experiencing as well in the chat. I do apologize in advance if I miss anybody. If there's something really you want to tell me, just keep bombarding me in the chat, and I hope I can see that, and we can discuss that as well. Teacup, your story might help a lot of people out there, at least for me. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You guys, we're in this together. As I always say, this hasn't changed today. We're in this together. We are creating this live stream, creating awareness, and hopefully helping even one person to feel just a little bit better, to be maybe a little bit more heard, to be a little bit more involved in it, and maybe one more person is going to know more about what is or what are invisible illnesses, chronic illnesses that a lot of people are suffering around us. And I guess filling river canals, hello. And I guess that's exactly what I'm going to start with, is about how invisible any of these illnesses that you guys in a chat or I do suffer are. And no matter if it is a physical chronic illness or if it is a mental chronic illness, they are invisible, and that means that somebody is sitting right beside you right at this moment. If you're in a bus, in a metro, if you're at the office, or maybe you're sitting at home beside your loved one, and you don't know the way they actually feel physically, mentally, emotionally. They might look fine. If somebody passes them on a street, or look at your person who you're sitting by, you might think, well, you know what, they look perfect, they look healthy, they look great, they look beautiful, they are fine. But you never know. And that, I think, is the biggest message throughout all of this live stream that I want to get delivered, is that we never know what happens behind people's eyes. As I say, eyes is our soul. We don't know what is going on, what any of us, any people that you know around you, what they might be suffering from, what is really going on. People might look great, they might be cheery, they might be optimistic, they might look great, beautiful, healthy, all of those great adjectives, but in fact they might be suffering from pain, emotionally, mentally, physically, and oftentimes it has a direct impact on our lives as somebody who suffers from them. And it is very hard to explain this dissociation of the image of a healthy person and the actual pain a person suffers inside. So just I probably will be talking about it on and on in different places, because I really think it's important to keep in mind when we do communicate with people around us, to remember that you never know what is really going on behind what we see. And somebody might just have a bad day, somebody might have a really tired day, really painful day, and maybe they are trying to get together their last bits of energy and last bits of resources to smile at you today, and maybe they just can't do it the whole 100%. And just don't get angry at them just because of that little tiny thing that might be irritating for you. Just reminder, and I will be talking about it probably on and on and on. Laj, hello, how are you doing? Hidden chronic illness grinds you down. It is hard and can make you feel so alone. Yes, I agree. Dustin Johnson, thank you so much. Parajunkie. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Stefan Nobles. Thank you so much. Guys, please, if you wonder why everybody's blue and you are not, definitely get to you. It's really, I understand how I miss my husband here, because it's really hard to multifunction everything in the same level that we do. We have both of us here, but I do appreciate you being here. Yeah, so what Laj was saying, hidden chronic illness grinds you down. It is hard and can make you feel so alone. And it is such a powerful statement. It is, Mario Sonic, thank you. It is such a powerful statement. And I think a lot of times we do feel alone within ourselves. And alone, you can feel alone even when you are in the middle of the crowd. You can be in the middle of the biggest party or the concert or family gathering and still feel lonely and alone because you don't feel understood. And even harder so when it is about illnesses that are invisible, because it's so hard to explain to somebody how you feel when there is literally almost no proof except for your own words about how you feel. It's hard. It's hard. Lots of things are based on communication. Lots of things are based on being able to word it out and on the other person's perception and understanding. And it is so hard. Communication is one of the hardest things to master, to do between the humans. And when it goes about something that we can't prove, it becomes even more harder. Riley Finchfield Food Reviews. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Hot sauce junkie team. Hello, Whiskey Woman 5. How are you doing, guys? If you can share it out, I would really appreciate that. Share it out on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. Take a selfie on Instagram. I'll definitely feature it on our stories on both of our Push Studios Instagram channels. Really appreciate spreading awareness for this subject. The more, the better. Ghana, thank you so much. Thank you. JK Newbie. Yes, I do have accent. I'm originally from northeastern Europe in Latvia. That's where I was born and spent most of my life. But then love brought me to Canada. And I have been here for more than a decade now. My family and my home is here. So I'm in Montreal. So I don't know, a little bit Russian, a little bit Latvian, and a little bit Canadian accent, everything together. Kids connections. I agree. I have terrible anxiety that lead to panic attacks. Yes, definitely. It is very hard to deal with it for sure, and especially when you do have anxiety, to try to explain what you have. Sometimes not being understood raises even bigger anxiety spurts, so to say. Yes, HB Finnegan, yes, thank you so much. So let's dive a little bit into the theory at the same time, guys. And in the meantime, if you can share with me, is Latvia in the Baltic Republic? Yes, it's one of 3 states in Baltic states. It's 3 separate countries, though. I only have online friends for last 18 years, Stamps World says. Long story. Just want to say thank you for being one of them. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot. I think nowadays it gets harder and harder to establish real life friends, and having friends in general, no matter if it is online or in real life. I think the line in between of real life and online world have been almost erased. So I would say that you have friends. I wouldn't call them just online friends. Okay, so Millions Missing, our focus for today. Millions Missing is a global campaign for health equality for people with a myalgic encephalomyelitis, and I can't even pronounce this thing, which is also oftentimes called chronic fatigue syndrome, although there are little slight differences between both. But for the sake of being it more easy pronounceable, I will just call it chronic fatigue syndrome, okay? And it is organized by the non-profit #MeAction, M-E-Action, every year, I think for a couple of years already. And M-E is syntax AI, M-E, that's exactly what it means, myalgic encephalomyelitis. That is actually the official name of chronic fatigue syndrome, and the focus of this. May 12th is also Fibromyalgia Awareness Day, and this is the other coincidentally, this is the other diagnosis that I have. But as I said, we are going to be talking not only about those two, but also about invisible illnesses in general. If I miss you guys, please let me know if I'm missing any of your comments. Larry Johnson, hello, how are you doing? Chinese and Mommy Corner, hi, how are you doing? Good to see you and welcome here. We're talking about chronic illnesses, invisible illnesses that maybe you or somebody you love are suffering from. Hi Crazy, yeah, hello guys. Don't forget about your selfies. Really appreciate when you guys put them in. Also add #millionsmissing to that today as well to raise some more awareness. Well, invisible illnesses, I already touched on that a little bit, but invisible illnesses, it is a very umbrella term, so to say, to everything. As I mentioned, literally it is chronic illness that is not visible to the naked eye, and it can be anything from chronic physical conditions like arthritis or diabetes, or also mental illnesses as well as anxiety, PTSD, etc. Like there are hundreds of different conditions, diseases, syndromes, and things like that that are not visible to your naked eye, but people are suffering from them, and they all are under invisible illness umbrella. And surprisingly, the whole 10% of Americans have a medical condition which could be considered an invisible disability. So disability officially something that actually disables them to function through their main life. So not only having an invisible chronic illness, but being disabled by it. 10% of Americans. That's a huge, huge number, guys. 96% of people with chronic medical conditions live with a condition that is invisible. So out of all the chronic conditions that we all know exist, 96% are invisible. That's also a huge number. What it also tells me that a lot of them are missing tests, diagnostics, and things like that that would be able to make them a little bit more visible. Join Reigns, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Sweeney Todd 70, thank you so much. Thank you for jumping in. Do appreciate that. Living Guard, I seen your tweet today. Thank you so much. Do appreciate that. I love when we can spread the positivity and inspiration to share our stories. That is so good to feel, and so thank you so much for sharing it with me. The busy little house, hello. Mold illness is so huge. I pray many will research it. Yes, that is such a great topic. Dark One, hello, and Robert Reed, hello as well. Shane Reedu is here, and Patrick D family. Yes, mold. Now, this is gonna start me jumping from topic to topic, but in fact, mold apparently is a cause for a lot of illnesses. I mean, we all know it can be cause for different skin infections, for different lung infections, eczema, asthma, breathing function. Impairments and things like that, but also immune system. Some even say that fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome partly can be associated with mold spore presence in the house that you're living or the place that you're constantly being present at, and the prolonged exposure to those might be partly at fault of having some of these illnesses. It's definitely a huge problem. It's not recognized everywhere, unfortunately. The only thing that you can do is to really take care of it yourself. I know people that had to move houses because of that and because of the health conditions that they were suffering from mold. And I'm not talking like severe black mold eaten walls. I'm talking about hidden mold that might be there from humidity or from leaks and things like that that are not discovered for ages and are still impacting the lives of people that are there without their knowledge. So definitely, if you are starting to feel unwell, I would suggest thinking of that as one of the possibilities for sure. You definitely can do different testings of air and etc. Inspectors, etc. that can make sure that you don't or you do have mold in your house or the place you work that might impact you. Uniquely Jacqueline, thank you so much. Yeah, some people are more affected than others to mold. Exactly. Well, you see, anything around us in the environment, it's very unique how we react to it. That's why some people have allergies for certain things and some people don't. Like lots of people are very happy for spring coming up on this side of the world, and then lots of people are very unhappy because they know that the beauty of flowers also are gonna bring tears and red noses and different medications that we'll have to take at the same time. So of course it is about sensitivity. Just because one person is not affected doesn't mean that somebody else might not. It is very individual, as any kind of health condition or really individual bodies. We all are like snowflakes, right? All are different. Definitely got to keep that in mind. I live in a very humid environment, and this impacts many clients I work with that cannot afford to move. Yes, Jessica G, that is a lot. That can be a big problem in the places of the world where humidity in general is I don't like to say normal, but a normal condition. So definitely something that might reduce it, like the humidifier maybe, or things like that. If people can afford it, is something that can be thought of. But I understand what you're saying. Elite Rockstar JVB, hello, how are you doing? Fire Scratcher, how are you doing as well? Good to see you. Good to see you all who are just joining us. Good to see you all here. I really hope I didn't miss anybody here. If you can share it out, I would really appreciate that. Please leave a like, and if you're new, please subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. So we touched up on the invisible illness as an umbrella term, and I just wanted to dive a little bit about what I do have. And if any of you guys have any of these conditions, let me know if you want to. It's not a forced thing, so I wanted to let you know what exactly is that I have. But as I said, we are going to talk not only about these conditions, but in general about chronic and invisible illnesses as well. Chronic condition that I have, in fact, is myalgic encephalomyelitis, Commonly known as chronic fatigue syndrome. As I said, it has slight differences, but let's just call it chronic fatigue syndrome. And it is a multi-system disease that causes dysfunction of the neurological, immune, endocrine, and energy metabolism systems. Sounds so severely serious. And it is estimated that at least 1 million Americans and 15 to 30 million people worldwide live with chronic fatigue syndrome. That's a huge amount of people. I mean, 15 to 30 million people worldwide live with chronic fatigue syndrome. Isn't that crazy? And it's something that is very hard to detect. And we'll dive into that as well. And it's unbelievable that so many people are suffering with it. Mold mixed with mouse droppings is very bad. Well, yes, definitely. I mean, add anything to the mold mix is definitely going to be bad. My Crochet Studios, how are you doing? I hope I pronounced your name right. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Just Juju. Hi, John DiNardo. Welcome back here. Cutestuff.com. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. Jessica G, I have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. Oh, so you have the same conditions that I have. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I will share you my story, and then you definitely don't forget that I'm not a doctor. So you always have to consult with and find your own medical professional, but you always got to keep that in mind that there might be different diagnoses that are not conventional, that your doctors might not be thinking about even. I never have any energy. I drink Red Bull every day, but the doctors always tell me that it's because I have 3 small kids. Oh, yes, I hear you, Kids Connections. Yes, Red Bull. Well, I'm not a doctor, but I don't know. Red Bull every day is probably not a good thing either. And so is not coffee in the amounts that I'm drinking. And literally, that's probably the only thing that keeps me awake. Although I can just drink coffee like all day and drink coffee during our live streams and just literally go to bed after just drinking a whole cup of coffee. That's how ineffective it is. I really don't know anymore if it actually keeps me awake. I can go to sleep at any time, no matter how much coffee I drink, but I still drink it. Coffee music, gallons of coffee on the way. Yes, thank you so much. I'm Living Art. So amazed that you can do with CFS. So many people with that can hardly function. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Yes, and that is also very important to remember. Caffeinated live scroll check. Yes, that's right. Video call-in show. Hello, how are you doing? Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, and M. Living Art, this is something that you touched on that is also important to remember, that no matter what kind of conditions we have, diagnosis anybody can have, there's always graded variety of symptoms of things that people are experiencing. The same as really any other health condition. Let's take flu, something very common that most of us have experienced here. Some might have a high fever and sniffles and teary eyes and sore throat and all of that, and somebody might just have a light fever and and complete running nose. You know what I'm saying? What I'm getting to is that symptoms can be different, severity symptoms can be in different ways. There's no same chart that you can look at. It is going to be very individual, and especially in the things like invisible illnesses where there are so many things that are unknown, undiscovered yet, even medically, like scientifically wise. There's so many questions about any of the invisible chronic illnesses. There is no one particular way of having it. There's so many degrees of it, and I will talk about that. It looks much easier sometimes than it actually feels. I also have fibromyalgia. And fibromyalgia, for those of you that don't know, is a disorder characterized by widespread musculoskeletal pain. You get fatigue, sleep, memory, mood issues, And researchers have had all different varieties of what exactly it is and how it is affecting you. But for now, it's said that fibromyalgia amplifies painful sensations by affecting the way my brain processes pain signals. So basically, it seems what they're saying is that I feel it more painful than it is, although I would question that one after I tell you a story. Fibromyalgia affects an estimated 10 million people in the US and around 3 to 6% of the world population, which is also a pretty huge amount. And 3 to 6 is because probably a lot of people are left undiagnosed or misdiagnosed because of how little information there actually is about fibromyalgia diagnostics. Although we're getting there, slowly but surely. What are the symptoms? Well, we are going to get into symptoms. There are noticeable symptoms as well, and some of them are things that go together, so to say. They are the same for chronic fatigue syndrome and for fibromyalgia and for some of the other illnesses as well. And that's why it's really hard to diagnose them and differentiate which one do you have. But then there are some other things that are very distinguishable and very characteristic to the particular one as well. And we'll definitely going to dive into that as well. Hidden chronic illness research is underfunded because the general public cannot relate. Yes, I agree. It's kind of like trying to find a black cat in a dark room. You know it's there, but you don't know what you're looking for. And then if the cat is asleep, well, you don't know where it is, that's for sure. That's exactly it. Nobody knows what is it. Nobody knows exactly where to look for it. And there is some funding, there is some research, and part of Millions Missing and Me Action campaign, which this live stream is part of, is to raise awareness and bring people's attention. So when there is public opinion polls, when there is campaigns raising funds or just raising awareness and spreading information, you can be more informed and educated, and tell your friends and neighbors about it and let other people know, so more people get involved into that, because anybody can be touched by it, no matter what social level we are in, no matter where we live or what age even we are. The things that I'm talking, for example, about fibromyalgia, there's lots of teenagers and even kids that are suffering from it, which is so unfortunate. And even that in itself should be an idea of why people or incentive why people should be dedicating more studies into that, for sure. Simply Shannon, hello, how are you doing? How are you doing? Yes, medication, I see. I know someone who was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and healed thanks to meditation. Yeah, all kudos to them, and I'm really happy for them. Yeah. I'm laughing because there have been so many things that have been told to me in general that I should try, and definitely that will cure you. Chronic conditions, they are called chronic for a reason. They're chronic because you have them for life. You are able to learn how to manage them, how to cope with them mentally, how to manage your pain levels, how to manage your daily activities, how to adjust to it in time, to cure no matter what it is that makes you feel better. It is a chronic condition. Chronic condition is a chronic condition. It can't just evaporate. You can just learn how to live with it better, how to adjust your quality of life. And I think part of, at least for me as well, part of the healing process is to understand that you do have it, and it is something that you can't really take away from yourself, and it is part of you. Yeah. Syntax AI, is it true that fibromyalgia is more common in women than men? Yes, according to studies, it is. The studies say that fibromyalgia is more common with women, but also it states that women in general are more aware of their sensations and their bodies. Might be stereotypical, but that's what the studies say. and therefore it might be that's why women are diagnosed with it more than men. There's no really genetic proof to it, because there's no genetic biologically based test that could prove that you have it or not, and therefore you can't really compare the gender related diagnoses or studies. So yeah. Simply Shannon, I'm doing okay. I'm glad you're talking about this. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. The busy little house. My mother has West Nile virus, and her whole life has been crippled from it. Oh yes, that exactly. It's terrible how it turns our lives upside down. Canadian Drone Hub. Don't ever be sorry. Don't ever be sorry. You're always on time, guys. Life always first. Happy Pepper, how are you doing? Good evening. Kidney Jerk, I have a chronic illness. Meditation helps me manage how to live a day-to-day with it. It can be an alternative treatment, but never a cure. Yeah, I agree to that. I really agree. I don't think there is any cure, not at least for now. Not that we know of. But definitely something that can help us manage it. Living art, meditation, and sound healing. Sounds crazy, but worked for her. Well, I'm glad if it did. Like, I'm not saying that she is not feeling better. I'm glad she's feeling better. If that's what helped for her, there might be things that might be helpful for somebody and might not helpful for me, and vice versa. And I'm going to share with you what I found helpful for me in this journey. And maybe there's something you haven't heard of and you can try, and maybe it's going to work and maybe not. Definitely consult with your doctor first. But that's why I think sharing information is very crucial, and it is so important that we do have things like internet nowadays, that we can share this information and try to understand all of this together. We are way more aware of our bodies than men. Yeah, well, I didn't want to assume things, but yes, I would say so. Meditation is the one thing that has helped me. I'm not cured yet, but I've made so much progress. I meditate every day, and it really helps more than anything. Living art, that is amazing. Who else is meditating here? Is there any one of you guys here or girls who are into meditating? Let me know. How is it going? What exactly you're in? Is it yoga? Is it visual meditation? Is it sound meditation? What exactly you're doing and how's it helping you? Let me know. Thank you, Teacup. Thank you so much. Crazy Chicken Dude. Hello, you are raiding me. Aw. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Crap, my dad makes me watch. Hello. Thank you so much for the raid. And hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm not ashamed to say it's medical marijuana is what helps me cope. I would rather feel human than be doped down on painkillers. Yes. And that's also something I have tried, and I'll talk about that as well. Recreational marijuana is actually illegal in Canada now, but the medical one have been legal for years now, and have been proven actually in studies to help with chronic pain, especially the CBD part of it, which is part, for those of you that don't know, that doesn't make you high at all. I don't meditate, but I want to get into it to help me with anxiety. Yes, it definitely helps with anxiety. Again, as part of my pre-YouTube life. Yes, definitely something like visualizations and meditation definitely helps anxiety. Above and beyond drones, I have actually had a fight with pharmacist whom decided I didn't need the prescribed medication. The pharmacist decided that you don't need a medication. Wow. Can you tell more about that? Did the doctor prescribe you and the pharmacist decided not to give it to you? That is really weird. Finley River Canals Jr., hello, how are you doing? Hello, good to see you. April and Fam, hello, how are you doing here? Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming all here. Oh, thank you, Crazy Chicken Dude. I feel very honored. Thank you so much. And we have also Kelsey's Ghost Raid. My goodness, I've been raiding from rated from everywhere, guys. Don't forget to add your hashtag Blue Orange Group, hashtag millionsmissing. I will get back to the selfies as well. Let's raise awareness together. We're in it together in everything. And leave a like, share it out. More people know, the more we can raise awareness about this. MudCon double rate. My goodness. Is it my husband that is working behind the scenes, or is it just you guys? Kelsey's Ghost Raid and MudCon. Yes. Oh my God. Crazy Chicken Dude. Thank you so much. If meditation is not your thing or you're afraid of the language, look into mindfulness as an option. The same principles apply. Yes, mindfulness is part of meditation. Really, it's a crucial part of it. Nowadays, I mean, there's so many apps that can help you, especially to get into it at the very beginning. Some of them are free and they're pretty good for the beginners, especially. Consistency and determination, I think, is what needed, and then you can always find the means, the way to learn it. It's actually very, very beneficial for psyche and for the physical health as well. I meet many people in the same boat as me who do not take charge of their own treatment, Alaj says. We must lead the fight hand in hand with medical professionals, of course. Yes, and that is a lot of that. I think part of it is because we don't have trust into our physicians or in medical personnel in general. Again, when we talk about verbal, Kim, hello, how are you doing? I think in part also because when it is invisible illness, it is hard to connect with physician because it's hard to describe what exactly you are feeling. And for them, it is hard to understand how you're feeling if it is hard for you to describe how you're feeling. And therefore, it is very hard to be on the same level with your physician or your specialist for them to find something that works for you. It's again, we're going back to the communication level, to the way we can talk about the way we're feeling, to the way we can voice it, not only for other people to understand us, but for our own sake, for our treatment team, so to say, or the doctor that you go to try to understand at least what is going on with you, especially if they are not a specialist in the field that you might be diagnosed theoretically into. It is definitely something that causes problems. And then if you don't trust your specialist, you're less likely to be taking prescription medication that they are taking and that they're giving to you, and etc. You might just give up on treatment altogether. So it is very important to find somebody that understands you. And in some places, if you live in more remote areas, it is you might not have this choice. You might not have a choice of changing the specialist or even have a specialist. You might not be able to afford a different specialist, or lots of variables that come into play into that for sure as well. You have to get a doctor to believe you first. Yes, and it is a huge deal, huge thing that Sam's World says I don't do doctors. Yeah. Also, there are many different types of meditations. It took quite a bit of exploring to find that kind that I really love and works for me. I love what I'm doing. That is awesome. If you guys using any of the apps, share it in the chat. Let other people know so they can benefit of that as well. Oh, Sam's World. My God, I really hope that you don't need a doctor. Lack of trust in physicians can be devastating in managing chronic illness. Very true. Many still don't believe in fibromyalgia. Very true as well. Stephanie Crawley. Kelsey Ghost Raid showing love. Make sure to hit that like button. Thank you so much to Kelsey Ghost Raid. Thank you so much. Do appreciate that. Thank you, and hello to each and every one of you just joining me now. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Slash, definitely connect with Fronschik. Her channel is amazing with regards to that. It is very hard. It is very important. But once again, I want to turn your attention that we live in the world with internet and with social media, and also some of the information might be very questionable and fake news, fake information, fake studies, and so on. We must take upon ourselves to do the research ourselves and double check all the information that we do receive online, but it does give us more information on what we can do ourselves, like meditation that we were just talking about, like support groups that can be available online in various places. There's of course Facebook, but also for example, fibromyalgia has its own website, Fibromyalgia Association, where you can actually share with people what is going on with you and seek some advice as well. So I think it is a little bit easier nowadays, even if you don't have a direct access to the physician. At least you have some options of some information, some knowledge. I just want you to be aware to double check all information you're getting with regards to if you're deciding to change your diet or anything like that without your physician, which you shouldn't. But if you don't have a choice, definitely double check before you do any changes. Rob Random, hello. We are talking about constant pain and living with the invisible disability. Yes, know that life. I hide my pain and troubles as makes me feel vulnerable and weak, and can be hard at times. Yes, that is very true. And this is, I think, part of why there is so little known about some of these illnesses, because we don't like to talk a lot about the way we feel in general. And when it's something that we can't prove on paper, oftentimes, as it is with, for example, with fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome, it's hard to talk about something that you yourself not really sure about. And yes, you're right. We don't want to seem weak. We don't want pity, but at the same time, we want to feel understood. And when we are not understood, that it hurts and makes us feel even weaker than before. It is such a hard place to be. Very hard place to be. In fact, oftentimes invisible illnesses, chronic illnesses, are associated as a side effect of them is also depression, anxiety, because of the way it makes us feel. Like we talked about that before, make us feel lonely, alone, misunderstood. Anxiety, trying to explain things over and over, trying to prove things, guilt, not feeling understood, feeling alone, that you're not the only one that feels like that. That all oftentimes comes into play together with chronic illnesses, especially when you are longer and longer getting exposed to the pain. It also wears not only your body down, but also your mental health and your emotional well-being, and it is very hard to deal with it, especially if you don't have tools in hand, like meditation, like a therapist, maybe a doctor, maybe just anybody that you can talk to. It can really wear down us, both physically and emotionally. Because it's invisible, it's hard for people to understand and can feel less than. Yes. Reminds me of the live stream the other day. Should I carry a photo of my diseased colon to prove I'm sick? Yes. And as funny as it sounds, it is so true. Crohn's sick, one of her conditions is irritable bowel syndrome. And yes, exactly. Like somebody who has broken their leg, I mean, they have a cast, and then you can see it, but they're not carrying their x-ray with their broken leg, picture on their chest so everybody to see. So why should we carry around our tests of proof? The thing is that lots of these diseases, like for example fibromyalgia, there would be nothing to carry because there is no real test. Well, there have been lately, but up until now there have been no real tests that can diagnose fibromyalgia per se. So there would be nothing I could carry around even for the proof if somebody would ask. Not ashamed to talk about it, just tired of explaining and being told just to be happy. Yes, oh my, get it so much. Yes, just be happy. It's okay. People doubt you when you have an invisible disability. I don't like that. Yes, we're only human. Thank you, I'm Living Garth. Thank you so much. I've always been a strong person, so it was very hard to feel vulnerable. And yes, that affect mental health. but still battle those down times as best as I can. So can imagine for some it's impossible. It is very hard. And also we got to remember that it is okay as long, even when we do learn different coping mechanisms, different ways how we deal with it mentally, it is okay to feel down sometimes. It is okay to not being able to do that on an everyday basis. We do have these chronic illnesses. Just because you feel better one day doesn't mean that now it's gone. Gonna give yourself a slack, so to say, and do baby steps, basically, and if you feel good that day, that is great, and if you don't feel good, well, then that's the way you feel. Just accept the reality, be mindful about the reality, and don't guilt ourselves for it. And it is easier to say than done, and it takes a lot of work to get through it. I'm not saying I'm done with it within myself, but I'm definitely in a lot different place than I was with what I have last year. And if any of you are going to drop by and see that, you're going to see how much different I'm probably talking about it, because I really do feel that I'm in a little bit different place than I was last year with it. It takes a lot of time. That Franz chick says, try not get mad about it. Just try to educate people about it. So hopefully when they come across someone else, they will know what to do. Yes, exactly. Exactly. But I do understand what Laj is saying about being so hard to explain over and over and over. That is very, very true. Very true. Yeah, feelings are just feelings. Avoiding them never works. Yes, we definitely need to learn to work with them. But once again, it sounds so much easier, right? It sounds like Lars saying, just be happy. Easy, be happy. It's not as easy. Ambiguous. I'm sorry. So bad at that. Guys, don't forget to like and share. I would really appreciate if you do. I would really appreciate if you share this out. The more the merrier. The more people are gonna know what we're doing here and spread awareness all together. There's some selfies there as well, so I'm gonna definitely jump to that as well. So please share it out, and I would really, really appreciate that if you can. So let's jump into this here. So how did it all start for me? Well, a couple of years ago, and that was so while ago that I don't even know exact dates anymore. Killshot plays. Hello, how are you doing? Past mistake like my last text destroyed my work life, leaving me with nothing. Yes, definitely. It affects our lives directly, for sure. I mean, it becomes part of our lives. So sorry to hear that. Communication is very important. So don't be afraid to tell your stories. Very, very true. Grandma Sue, happy homestead. Hello, so good to see you. Welcome back here. My family got used to me being super mom and doing everything and not need help. That was a mistake now to get them to help. Yes, that definitely takes adjusting, not only for ourselves, but for our loved ones as well. How or why would they think that? I don't have family, but people who have known me think I'm... Well, Tham's World, I not really know your condition directly. Probably refusing to visit the doctor might get them more than anything just worried about you. Can be. Yes, thank you so much. So yeah, just Juju. Hello, by the way, again. So a couple of years ago, we went to Iceland, and I think it was the Iceland trip with kids. Not sure. But after coming back, I really realized that I am so super tired. I couldn't get back to the schedule of not being tired, to sleeping and not being tired. And I never really had any problems sleeping per se. Like I haven't been insomniac, like, things like that. Sleeping disorders wasn't my thing. But I was either sleeping too much or sleeping too little. I also had a lot of pain. It all started very slowly in a little, my ends of my fingers started to hurt and tingle. My hands started to hurt. My legs, my feet started to hurt. So it kind of was coming from legs and arms at the same time, kind of like, and very slowly, like a wave, almost like taking over the body with the pain over a couple months, more and more intense, more and more longer. I started to feel that I don't know where to put myself, and everything was uncomfortable. Doing some things for longer periods of time started to get more painful, uncomfortable. I was getting tired very, very fast. So it started with kind of little pain at the ends of my extremities, and then it turned into overall spread pain altogether. I also noticed that I have started to forget a lot of things. I seem to be more unfocused, not being able to be as productive as I used to be. And it was kind of gradually. It wasn't like a very sharp thing, but I noticed that it was coming very like a rapid wave. Like once it started, it was coming over on and on. And I mentioned before that I really, thinking back, I think probably I had some of the different symptoms on and off throughout probably even my teenage years. But back then, first of all, nobody talked about that. Second of all, I never thought it's part of anything. You're just tired, you're, studying too much or whatever. But now thinking back, I really think that some of the symptoms of fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome were there even before that, even before probably I had kids. But I don't know. I'm just thinking that it probably had been a long time before that. PMD Entertainment, hello, how are you doing? And Deacons of Defense, how are you doing? Super Sanchez, hello, how are you doing? My daughter's godmother has been in excruciating pain for years, and the doctor kept prescribing meds. Turns out she has a blocked artery and needs triple bypass surgery. Oh my God, wow. Yeah, I have heard those stories too. Excuse me. Oftentimes misdiagnosis happens as well. Wow. Yeah, I'm glad they solved it out though. I hope they could do the surgery. Tia and Andy, hello, how are you doing? ZZ on deck, hello. How are you doing, guys? Thank you so much for being here and listening to me and sharing your stories there as well. Really appreciate that. So I went to the doctor, and it was a long story short. I have a very good family doctor, and that's very fortunate because, as we talked before, it is very hard to communicate and to connect with the right doctor, to even try to explain them what is going on with you. And oftentimes they just send you home and say, just sleep it off or take your Tylenol, and everything is going to be fine. Thankfully, it wasn't the case for me. She was really into trying to understand what was going on, and I was in my late 20s, feeling the way I shouldn't be feeling in the late 20s at the time. Rolling Homestead and Wild Edibles, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Oh, that is great, Riley. Good to hear that. So by doing different tests, oh my God, there were so many visits to the doctors, back and forth, and tests and MRIs and CT scans and over, and there was different theories of what was going on with me, different types of allergies, and some tests were sent to Italy like for months to test them, to think, to prove or disapprove of different theories of what I might possibly have, And after probably a year or so in visiting also a rheumatologist, they decided that they can diagnose me with fibromyalgia. So that was my first diagnosis. And, first you kind of don't understand what it really is, but then it kind of hits you as a ton of bricks because the more you read, and first, of course, I will tell you, don't read everything that you can find there, but the first natural reaction, you just go and read everything that you can find. You do exactly the opposite what you shouldn't be doing. You understand that it is chronic. You understand that it is not getting better. You understand it is completely is changing your life, and it's basically not gonna be something that is gonna end or stop feeling like at any time soon. I think there is a lot of psychological moment in there that comes into place when you get diagnosed with any kind of chronic illness, really. And it's very important, again, that you have a doctor that understands that, but also people around you that can support you in understanding that, into accepting in what you have and how it's going to impact your life, and things in general. So I think with a lot of chronic diseases, invisible chronic diseases in general, we go through the same kind of cycle, and I have my theory about it, that we go through the same cycle as we do when we lose somebody, when somebody dies, and we go through the grieving process. I think a lot of times we go through the same feelings with ourselves when we do get a chronic diagnosis, because there's definitely some anger, there's definitely some resentment, trying to find the miracle cure, and all of those same stages of grief, till you finally get to the acceptance of it. I went through, and I think I'm not the only one that goes through that when you get affected by the diagnosis like that. And sometimes you get through that faster, and sometimes some people, it takes years for that to do. And it's okay. Sometimes you go back and forth through one another. Like a lot of times I was trying to find the miracle cure. I was in a race of finding anything that would make me feel like my old self, and then I would get to acceptance of it, and then I would jump into something else again, and sometimes still be angry about it, and things like that. So I really think that in a way, when we do get hit by something so life-changing, we do grieve. In a way, we do grieve ourselves, as part of accepting that who we are, we're never going to be, and you kind of learn to say goodbye to the person that you thought you were going to be, the things that you are going to do, the dreams, the perceptions, what you thought what you're going to do in life, or even littlest things, personality, all of those things changes. And I think it is a huge step to understand that, and also to learn to let it go, the same as we do when somebody in your life passes away, because truly it is the part of you is gone, right? And it is very hard to accept it sometimes, and I think it is very necessary to go through this acceptance in order to be able to feel better mentally, and also to be able to understand how to cope with it on a daily basis, and learn things that might improve the quality of life on a daily basis as well. M. Living is saying, yes, grieving is so important. It is essential. There are many things to grieve. Yes, and I think a lot of times people forget about that. It's just physical. It's okay. I can, push through it. But I think acceptance of it and moving on towards this next different step. I wouldn't say worse step. It's just different. Accepting that it's different is a part that is very important, but yet so hard to do. Fairness PTSD is hell. Yes, I get that. Definitely something. And like I said, in any kind of invisible illnesses or chronic illnesses, it is a part of it, no matter if it is mental or health. illness, it still affects the way we change as personalities and the way we step forward into our lives. And it is a part that is very hard to accept for us and also for people around us as well, because of course it impacts the way they have been thinking about life or dreaming about what their life is going to be as well. You might not be the exact person the way you used to be either, and it is adjustment not only for you but for your network of people around you as well, and it is important to remember for them and for you as well. I have been sick for decades and I have never given up. I still believe it is possible. I could heal completely. I don't know if I will, but I still believe I can. I wouldn't call it giving it up. You see, by accepting that it is a chronic illness that I have, I don't think I have given up. I am still I am very open to different treatments, to advancements in diagnosis, and I know that, like, for example, fibromyalgia, as of last year, I think there have been one test developed that can actually prove scientifically that you do have fibromyalgia. Right now it is a very expensive test and it's not populated all around the world yet, but it is a huge step forward. That means more people are going to be diagnosed, and if we know where to look for it, we can diagnose it and maybe, hopefully, eventually find a treatment for it as well. It's not giving up per se. It is not fighting within yourself and using the means that you have now to make your life better now, and still maintaining hopes for the future. That's how I would call it. Accepting something is not giving up. Accepting something is taking the reality into your hands and being mindful about your reality, but still being hopeful for the future. And I think it is very important, because if you disassociate yourself from what is going on in the real life with you, you might not be taking care of yourself as well as you should or could if you would be taking it as reality now. Thank you so much, Nibble. Thank you. Does it take decades to diagnose fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue? So for some people it takes decades. For some people it takes a couple years. It really depends on your symptoms, on your ability to communicate them, on the doctor that you have. Lots of variables that are there. Lots of people get misdiagnosed, unfortunately, or undiagnosed at all. Philip Cockram, hello, how are you doing? And COT, so good to see you. How are you doing? Good to see you here. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you. Accepting what your illness is taking ownership, which helps you to get some of that control back. It's a good feeling. Yes, and I agree. I do feel more like last year when I was talking about my illness in the live stream. I think I was still very much into in between of anger and experimental phase kind of thing, I was not there. I definitely wasn't there. And you will see if you watch it, the way I talk about it. I understand what is going on, but I'm not ready yet to accept that I can learn how to deal with it and still function well, or at least the best I could possibly. I wasn't ready to accept any kind of things that could possibly help me on a day-to-day basis, because I wasn't really accepting that's new me. I mean, if they do have find the cure, and I hope they do, since they have find this test, that's great. I really hope they do. But in the meantime, I would like to have my life as much as in a better quality as I possibly can. Is medication any help at all on your condition? I will mention that. Yes, Theo, so good to see you. So good to see you. Missed you. Thank you so much for coming. Blaze Radio, glad I made it for your stream. Always so informative. Well, thank you so much. This one is a little bit more personal, and it's more of a raising awareness and information for part of Millions Missing. I really hope that you can benefit from in some way. The Corn Life Network, how are you doing? So good to see you as well. Guys, if you can share it out, I would really appreciate that. It is for a good cause. Share the cause, share awareness, share information. The more people are there, aware and informed, or maybe you can find the place to talk about it, the better it is. Thank you so much if you had already. So yes, well, so this was one part of my journey. I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and there was a lot of pain. And I would say the difference between fibromyalgia and myalgic encephalomyelitis, which I can't pronounce, so chronic fatigue syndrome, is that fibromyalgia is more pain. It is overall body pain, and chronic fatigue syndrome is exhaustion. It's still pain, but the exhaustion is more prevalent. So I kind of got the both ends of the stick, meaning that I got the pain part, the prevalent pain from fibromyalgia, and the really, really fatigue part of chronic fatigue syndrome, which is really an explosive combination, because when you don't have as much pain, you have pain all the time. But if you don't have as much pain, you feel exhausted and tired, and you want to sleep. And when you don't feel as tired or sleepy, then you are in huge pain. So it's either one or the other, and it is so hard to manage with painkillers or any kind of medicine as well, because it is both sides of it. It either makes you tired or it makes you suffer in pain. So it kind of got both of it. A story with my chronic fatigue syndrome was a tiny little bit different and a little bit more traumatic, emotionally probably as well. Thank you, Video Calling Show. Thank you so much. Do appreciate that. Killshot Plays, there were some people here as well. I think that we're talking about PTSD too, so keep it up. Hugs to you, and I hope you get some rest. Frozen Fury, hello, how are you doing? So when I was doing some trying to understand why I'm also so tired, because obviously we try to manage my pain from fibromyalgia with different painkillers and Lyrica and a whole bunch of different other pain management pills. The list goes on and on of different names that I have tried. Probably any name that you would put in a chat now, I have tried it. But I even when the pain was manageable, the exhaustion part and the tiredness was growing on and on and on, and that started to concern me. I could fall asleep anywhere at any time, for any amount of time. Sometimes I would sleep all the time. I would start sleeping 75% of the day. I could wake up in the morning, take kids out to the bus, come back, sleep till they come from the bus, get up, get them from bus, and then half asleep, maybe have like 3 hours of some kind of semi-conscious existing till I could go to bed at 8 again. It wasn't a life, because literally I was basically feeling like I want to sleep all the time, and sleep didn't bring any salvation, so to say. It wasn't like I got more sleep and I felt better. No, it didn't make any difference whatsoever. It just more felt like a wasted time. Still does, by the way. Because of the different pain systems and tingling and the way my cognitive system started to fade, my ability to concentrate, my ability to recall words, my memory were starting to get cloudy. Well, thank you for the idea, Skip Miller. So we got really concerned, and my doctor got really concerned because of the different cognitive things that I started to experience. I started also to get into different household accidents more often, because I wasn't necessarily paying attention, because I was unfocused and not being able to recall different things that I used to, the amount of information that I could process, the speed of it, and things like that. The actual cognition of the world around me was very distorted, and my doctor sent me to MS specialist, to multiple sclerosis specialist, with suspicion that I might have an early onset multiple sclerosis, which in itself is not news that you want to hear when you have little kids in a family, and knowing that the possibility of having something not chronic now, not only chronic, which was my fibromyalgia, but also something that is deteriorating your life eventually very rapidly and disabling you really fast from your everyday functioning was very, I would say, emotionally traumatic for the time being, when we try to understand if I do have it or not. I see your questions in text, and it was hard. It was hard because at first I didn't even want to tell my husband that I got sent to this specialist, because I didn't want him to worry and all of that, but I was really emotionally in pain of thinking about something like that. So, but long story short, again, test, and that's part of having chronic condition or invisible condition, is tests, MRIs, CT scans, and all of that, and blood tests, and this and that, and here and everywhere. And yes, they were trying to determine if I do have MS or not. And thanks God, I don't have MS. But they did diagnose me with chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's like the best of two evils, right? Because although the symptoms are very close to MS, chronic fatigue syndrome is very often misdiagnosed with MS, and vice versa. People who are diagnosed with MS oftentimes actually has chronic fatigue syndrome and not MS, but because the symptoms are so close, and really the only difference is the MRI, the very deep MRI that they can determine if you might have it or not. That's really the only difference in testing that can show you that. The only good thing about it was chronic. Yet it might not be developing, meaning that it might not get worse. Well, I guess it was good news. So now, instead of one fibromyalgia, I had two. I had chronic fatigue syndrome as well. So, I think I was just at that point just laughing it off. I was happy that it wasn't MS, but I mean, really another diagnosis, And from there, it just as always it is with lots of bigger diseases or illnesses that are chronic. There's lots of things that come into place at the same time. I was starting to have migraines that I never had, terrible migraines for days, that I had to just sleep basically in a dark room because I couldn't even move. I never had anything like that before. And I really excuse me, Laj asking if the symptoms have been changing. Although by all the theories, they shouldn't be changing, and chronic illness, especially in these ones, they should kind of be in the plateau version, like it's there, right? You have your flare-ups, where I have really bad pain or really getting tired, but then it kind of subsides, and then it's in that plateau. It never gets completely painless or completely not tired. But it kind of shouldn't, in general, it shouldn't get worse. I do feel though that, and it might be just because of the part of as we get older, things change as well, but I do feel that it gets kind of, it gets more and more limiting into the daily functions that I was and I'm not able to do now. So I think in that way, I do think that they do get worse in time. But again, it might be just because we get older, and it just changes together with our bodies. Teacup, yes. Well, good is a relative thing, as I said. I'm good. I don't have MS, but I do have both of the other things. Say wake and thank you so much, Crazy Anne. Oh my God, Norway. Yes. Good morning. Good morning, Norway. Val's Life, hello. How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. In my craze of going into different treatments and all of that, I was desperately reading everything I could possibly find, different studies. And, because of my background of clinical psychology, I was really going into like scientific studies of medical journals and, the latest things that they have found that possibly could make it easier. Because the thing is, my daily life, we go back to how it looks and how it feels like, the difference. It might look really well or nice or not tired or not in pain, but some days are unbearable. And I must tell you guys, it really is unbearable. It is much better now than it used to be, just because I have learned to manage some of it and to find techniques to help me cope with it. But there are days that are just like, leave me alone, and I just can't even talk. It hurts so much. And sometimes during the live streams here, I twitch here so much that Andrew knows, even without talking, that like something is going on, because my legs are going like crazy because I hurt so much. Sometimes I spend a lot of time sleeping, which I hate, because to me it's a waste of time. Because I know that even if I do sleep through the day, let's say, to regenerate somehow, you would think I would feel better after, but I don't. It doesn't change anything if I do sleep or not. I just sometimes can't go any longer without not sleeping extra. And that's why I do crash and I sleep, but it doesn't make me physically feel better, because it's chronic fatigue syndrome. You feel extra tired anyway, even if you sleep normally, so to say. So I have tried different medications, different pain medications. I have tried cognitive behavioral therapy, which apparently does help with chronic pain. As a clinical psychologist, I would say it does. I think it just in general, and it's just my opinion personally, chronic cognitive behavioral therapy in general is more, I think, practical approach to the therapy, and has more immediate results, and therefore is more suitable for something like pain management and things like that, where you actually are given tools like meditation, visualization, coping strategies, different actual tools that you can have around the house, and things like that can help you deal with it. So I think that's part of it. I also went into the group therapy workshop, and actually 2 of them last year. And I think the last year, when I was going through the live stream, the first live stream last year about Millions Missing, I was in the middle of one of my group workshops for chronic pain management, and that, I must say, helped a lot as well, because I was able to talk with people that understood me the same way as we were talking now. Just I'm actually able to talk with you instead of just me chatting here. Actually, to be able to hear different experiences and different approaches of for dealing with chronic pain. And in that group, there wasn't only people that had fibromyalgia or a chronic fatigue syndrome. There were people with different types of chronic pain and different kind of chronic illnesses from different reasons. And some had it just diagnosed, some had it for like 25 years. And there were so very different diagnoses, but chronic pain is chronic pain, right? And it didn't matter what the reason was, the pain is pain. So interchanging these experiences and sets of skills to deal with it, I think helped me tremendously, not only to learn these new tools and skills, but also to socialize with somebody who understood me, to be able to learn to talk about that myself, to other people, to voice it. I really, from all point of views, if you have any access to any group therapy for pain management, I would really suggest that you try it out. You might feel that it's not for you and that's not something you do, but even for those that were very skeptical at the beginning in our group, they were benefiting by the end of it. So if it's something that you can find I would really suggest looking for it. It definitely helps from all different sides of looking at it. Thank you, Austin White. Thank you so much, and hello, by the way. If I missed you in the chat, I do apologize. Hi, Country Fly Life. Thank you so much. Do appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so, and then I also jumped into some things that is called clinical trials. There's plenty of them here, and thankfully, because we live in Montreal, the McGill University here that is hugely advanced into medical research, are doing a lot of different kind of clinical research and trials, which gives me not only the knowledge of the latest research, but also access to the latest treatments. And that's what I found, that trying to find yourself different trials that you can take part into might lead you actually to different treatments that might otherwise not be available to you. And oftentimes that might be also a solution if you can't afford new treatments. Often these trials actually supply you with medicine that they are trying out. Of course, you gotta know, that it's trusted. Don't just go anywhere. Like, this was the studies that I was part of. It was part of McGill University, so it was approved and certified and all of that. You gotta make sure again that you know where you're going and your doctor knows what you're doing and things like that. But that definitely helped, because I was trying different types of medicine, and including effects of stronger painkillers and things like that. My main aim was that I was taking 10 pills a day to manage my pain and my tiredness. And when you take 10 pills a day when you are in your 30s, you're like, if these two illnesses are not gonna kill me, then my kidney is, because taking 10 pills a day, and some of them are really hard painkillers, you know what, it doesn't help. It doesn't help your overall health. You might be fighting one ailment, but you might be damaging your body altogether. So that's something I tried to really eliminate, is the amount of medicine that I ended up after these two diagnoses. Lots of times these pills have side effects. They work against each other. Like, there's no way that 10 different pills can work in sync with each other and you feel just amazing, and after 10 years of taking this cocktail you still feel amazing. Like, I was afraid I was gonna kill my kidney, and my family doctor wasn't as anxious about it. She said it's okay, it's managing your pain, and tiredness, that's the main thing. And I mean, I think her focus was that, and I'm thankful to her. But I decided that I wanted, by any means, somehow reduce it and try to manage my pain without having 10 pills a day, because it was unbearable to think that I will have to do that for the rest of my life. So one thing, and yes, Sticky Buzz was talking about that, I went into the trial of cannabis because at the time, although, as I said, it was available for legally in Canada, it was available for medical use. It wasn't legal yet recreationally. And I wanted to really understand if it's something actually does help or not before I commit to it and before I spend my money, because it's so expensive, especially the CBD stuff and all of that. You want to know what you're doing before you commit to any of that. But you know what? I was ready to try anything at the point, because when you are in excruciating pain, when you're in such big pain that you can't go to the park with your kids because it is just too painful to run around with them. When after shopping at the mall, you're in so much pain that you have to sleep for the rest of the day. When taking a shower in the morning takes all of your energy and you have to sleep the rest of the day because you just can't function. When you wake up in the morning and you have to roll out of bed because everything just hurts so much. At that point, when you think about the rest of your life and that you will have to deal with this, all of this, what I just said and more, for the rest of your life, And not only you, but also the people around you, like your kids that are yet small, but still understand that something is wrong with mom, and mom is not as playful as she could be. Your husband, your people around you, and yourself. At that point, I think at some point I just got like, I don't care what it is. I just need something that makes my life better, that makes my people around me better, feel better about the way it is. And that's why when people try different types of painkillers, medicine, I don't disregard it. I don't say it's a bad thing necessarily or anything, because I think you, at some point when you have emotional or physical pain, you reach the point where you just fed up and you're just ready to take on anything. And that's how I felt, I think, when I went into this trial. And I say I'm still cautious. I'm still cautious. I did try it. They did try different cocktails, so to say. It was a long study. So you could really feel and understand what works and what not. The part that I can tell you, if somebody is looking into that, is, and I can freely talk about it because it's legal now in Canada, but I can tell you that it's definitely worth the try. And as I mentioned before, the CBD part is not even making you high whatsoever. It is THC part is what would make you high, so to say, and CBD part, if you don't know, is the part that is not, but it can still reduce your pain, anxiety, etc. And it's something to consider if that's what you're looking for. I found it helped me. I found it helped me a lot with the pain, with sleeping, with energy levels. Overall, I dropped my pills to literally just one pill a day, and the study supply that they were giving me, which was tremendous change altogether. I think my kidney was saying thank you. So that's something to consider. I'm not on it. I'm not completely convinced that I want to do it. I'm still kind of questioning myself. I don't know why, really. I think it's more of a stigma that comes with it that is making me think or rethink of taking it or not taking it. But as from physical point of view, I really think it is something that helps a lot in all of different ways and doesn't affect your cognitive ability in any negative way. If anything, it helps you concentrate better and be more active participant into daily lives. Before that, I also found a really great place which is called Pain Clinic here in McGill University, which actually does specialize in pain management, and that's where my group was part of last year. That is where I was doing also something called injections, lidocaine injections, which is like once in 4 weeks. You do like IV that they give you lidocaine to basically it's like anesthetic from within to all of the ends of your nerve endings, so the pain is not as prevalent and stuff like that. It did help a lot, actually. I did feel for like out of 4 weeks in between, for good 2.5 weeks, I was feeling like 50% better than I was feeling before that. So that's something that was really cool and new, and I didn't know about those types of treatments. Eventually I got a little bit more tolerant to it, so it was less effective, and I was going to switch to ketamine, which is horse tranquilizer, but I never did because I started the trial. But that's always is an option, so I can still go back and have the injections of ketamine that would eventually reduce my pain levels. I also sometimes take cortisone shots if I do have a really sharp pain in my back or something extra on top of the overall body pain that I already have that is really bothering me. And for longer periods of times, you can have the direct needle into your pain spot of cortisone that is going to relieve it for at least a couple of weeks or even couple of months. and that is something that can give you, that extra relief or take off the edge of your pain as well. So that's something that I discovered for myself that worked really well. I also discovered that trying to work with my emotional well-being is definitely something that really helped me as well. Try to work within my own kind of inner balance and coping mechanisms with anxiety, with things that were going not as planned, with little things that I was trying not to get anxious about or stressed about anymore, because I knew that there would be correlation between my anxiety level and my pain level. If I was more stressed about something, obviously my pain would be more agitated. I would be having more flare-ups. The pain would be bigger more often and would impact my life more often as well. So I'm definitely trying different meditation things, walks, if I could walk outside, just fresh air, just 10 minutes in the sun. Even if I can't walk, just on the balcony, 10 minutes in the sun is great. Listening to music for 5 minutes that I really like, looking at the squirrel in the backyard, some little moments, to try to find these little moments that can give you a little bit of gratitude and a little bit of inner peace that you can use as a resource to get over the pains and tiredness. It definitely helps. I do have some practical things too. So one of the things that I use for my pain is a tennis ball. If it's something that you're looking forward to, it's very easy. Hello, everybody's just joining in. I really hope thank you so much. Thank you. I'm Living Guard. I use tennis ball. So if I do have a pain in my back that is in one point, or oftentimes I have especially lately, one point behind my shoulder blade that really, really hurts. And my physiotherapist last year suggested for point pressure relief to use a tennis ball. So basically what you do is you just place a simple tennis ball on the point where you have your pain, in between the shirt and your skin, and leave it there. And that little pressure, not jam it in, but that little pressure of the ball against your skin where the pain is actually helps release it. And it sounds so silly, but it does. It actually does. A little bit of that pressure helps the muscles around to contract and relax, and therefore helps to relieve the pain. So oftentimes I walk with this, or sometimes our live streams, I do have it behind my shirt on my back, because it actually helps me sitting for longer times, because otherwise my shoulder blade really starts to hurt. Yes, roll a tennis ball under your feet. Yes, that's an old trick as well. But this definitely helps. So you would just definitely literally just I don't know if you can see, would put it here. Let's say it would be a t-shirt, okay? And it would just leave it there. And just a little bit of that touch actually helps to relieve that pressure point. So that's something. I also use, my best friend is my heating pad. Hello, Nomadic Bike. How are you doing? Explore Venture. Hello. My best friend is my heating pad. I sleep with it. I travel with it. I do have a heating blanket from this Christmas as well, thanks to my in-laws. But I do have a heating pad as well that helps me tremendously. I can so easily more asleep with it. I put it on my aching parts. Oftentimes I just have it under my cheek as a comfort more than a pain reliever. And I think it's oftentimes also is important to have that comfortable spot or comfortable way of falling asleep. So that's something I use every day, no matter if it is winter or summer. I have it all the time. Sometimes I sit on it during live streams. It just helps so tremendously. Hot water bottle, exactly. And I also use a yoga ball, which basically is a huge rubber ball, and I use to sit on it. Oftentimes, if there are longer times, I have to sit by the computer, and you would usually use an office desk or like a dining room chair. Instead of that, get a yoga ball that basically allows you to be more flexible while you're sitting. Because when we're sitting on the chair, it is very rigid and very hard for our spine, for our muscles, especially if it's a longer times. On the yoga ball, you kind of naturally have to move around a little bit, and it is really great for posture and for muscles as well. I find it is very great. I actually used it while I was pregnant. First, because obviously it's so much harder to sit on chairs when you are pregnant. But then the physiotherapist suggested to use that as well to relieve pain and to avoid kind of having these big flare-ups. Do they make heat pads for your entire head? Yeah. Well, this one I actually almost can wrap around me. Almost. Just a second. And see, this one is not. It's not like the ones that are sticky. I am actually sensitive to, and I get really hard burns. So I don't use those sticky ones from pharmacy. This one is the one that you can wash, like it's unattaches and you can wash. It's basically like a flat pillow. Chasing Guns Outdoors. So as you can see, it's basically like a size of the pillow, a little bit more narrower. And I do use it when I do have migraines. I use to wrap my head like this. And as silly as it looks, it actually helps my head when I have migraines. It's probably one of the few things that help my migraines at least have some relief. But I use it all the time. You can unattach it and wash it, obviously. And it has different, like you can plug it in and you can control the heat. But there are different, you can buy them in different options, different sizes and things like that. And but that really helps. Like I have been using it for I think a year and a half or two now. I think 2 years. And this is something that really helps me, and I literally call it my best friend, because it is. Like it literally is. Honey, if you can just hold the ball for me, I just wanted to show. Yes, you need one of those sticky buds. And yes, and I just wanted to show you the ball. This is my yoga ball, okay? I'm holding it. There. So this was my yoga ball. So there are different sizes too. I think this one is 60 centimeters in diameter, and that's around the optimal for. I'm 5'8", so for that height, that's the optimal diameter. You can find online how big of a ball you need, depending on how high you are. So the way you're sitting is in the right angle, but that definitely helps. So those two things, a tennis ball, a heating pad, and a yoga ball is something that helps me on everyday basis. Literally tools in hand to deal with pain. No, it never goes away, but it does make it easier to handle, and sometimes prevents the flare-ups to be as hard as they would be otherwise. Yes, definitely. And this is not expensive. I mean, tennis ball, you can in the States you can buy it at the dollar store. I think yoga ball depends where you buy it. I bought this one at Amazon. I think it was like 20 Canadian dollars or something like that, depending on a size, but they're all around the same. You don't need a fancy one. It literally like $20. You don't need the $75 one. And a heating pad that was gifted to me by my in-laws as well. But I think also depending where do you buy them and what are they made from, you can get some for like $30 or something like that. But it's like it's say like I even take them for trips, for longer trips in the car, because you can plug it in the car. And it also helps because of the longer trips. Obviously, you're in more paid afterwards. So, things like that are not expensive. It's not some kind of gimmick that you'll, it doesn't promise you to cure anything. It doesn't promise you anything really, but it does help my everyday physical pain and tiredness for sure. So if it's something that you are thinking of that you might be using, let me know if you are trying it. Let me know how it works for you. As I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm just sharing my own experience. But it's definitely, it's not a medicine that I'm suggesting to you. It's just tools that anybody really can use for their everyday comfort. Yes. Hi, Country Fly Life. I really have tried to discover for myself things that help me on an everyday basis, emotionally and physically, that help me to... like I was saying, by accepting that this is part of me, like this is me now. And although I do have a hopeful outlook for someday, maybe it being cured, I want to be able to live the best of what I can now. So finding these little things, and sometimes the secret is in those little things, and consciously making effort to use them, consciously making effort to not stress out about little things, things like that. You have to be very mindful, and not always it works, obviously, but that definitely in time, by time, learning and adjusting, and it definitely helps. So I'm glad to share that with you, and I really hope that maybe some of the things I'm talking about is going to help you as well. I had no idea you were going through this. Puts a few things over. Yes, and that's, again, we talk back to how I started this live stream is about invisible illnesses, and the message that I wanted to deliver through this live stream is that when you sit beside somebody in the bus, at the office, or maybe on your living room chair, you don't know what that person is going through, because they might look beautiful, great, healthy, amazing. They might be laughing and smiling because they also want to have a great life, but behind that they might be suffering from physical or mental pain, and you never know. And I think we should really be keeping that in mind when we are dealing on a day-to-day basis with people around us, just as a little reminder for ourselves as well. A Life of Vicky, hello. Minion Moto, thank you. You have lupus. Oh yes, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Heavy Metal Magnet, how are you doing? Yes, I just was talking about that. Heavy Metal Magnet, I did try as part of a trial. I do agree that it does help, especially the CBD part of it. It does help for pain relief, and increases the energy and things like that, for sure. But that was my experience. I don't know if for any of you it would be the same, but it's definitely worth trying. I really think that it's better to try anything at the point and level when you don't feel like you can really function at all. You gotta try things that might make your life better for everybody, not only for yourself. Urban Viking Explorers, hello, how are you doing? No, it's not really short term. You're just gonna, there are different, the different dosages, different strains, different types. And obviously you would have to take it the same way as you would painkillers. Just the difference is it is natural, it is not chemical. As I said, I went from 10 pills a day to 1, and that I'm not using it now, but I think, as I said, it is more of a stigma thinking in my head that I'm still thinking of doing it or not doing, although it did help tremendously. Like, I don't know really what I'm thinking by not doing it, but I guess it's a question I have to ask myself again. But it's definitely something I would suggest to try, at least to see if it works for you or not. That has been a great live stream. Well, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to shout out once again the Crohn's Chick. If you guys haven't checked her out, she does these kind of live streams, and mostly not only talking about herself, but having panels of people talking about chronic diseases of different kinds, on her channel all the time. She has live streams. I don't know if it's twice a week now or 3 times a week. Put in the chat if you're still there. And if you want to stop by, or if you need a place to talk about your chronic illnesses, then that Crohn's chick, she is amazing, and that's what her channel is about. I'm doing this only literally once a year as part of raising awareness for a hashtag millionsmissing, although I do experience it every day of my life, the same as those of you that are in the chat that aren't experiencing any of the invisible chronic mental or physical illnesses. I understand what you go through. Yes, exactly. It is very nice, and it is very therapeutic as well, I find. So if you're looking for something like that, definitely check out that Crohn's chick. I did put a link of our live stream about fibromyalgia, but you can look around her channel. She's amazing, and I really hope if that's something you're looking for, that you can find really great chats there and some great information on a daily basis there as well. You have live stream in a few hours. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be awake, but if I am awake, I'll come. But I'm not sure. 5 live streams in a week now. Awesome. I love that. She's a very hard-working girl, too. I love that. So this is my story, guys and girls. It's... Everybody has their own things that they are suffering from. Sometimes it is mental, sometimes it is physical, emotional. I'm not saying that this is worse than somebody else might be experiencing. I'm just saying that it's also one of the ways people are suffering from. And we just got to remind ourselves that that's what can be influencing people around us. I really hope that you got some information from this live stream. I hope you got to chat around in the chat as well, hear my story, talk about your story, raise awareness, and just talking about it already raises awareness more and more. So hopefully more research, more attention gets to so many invisible chronic illnesses that have been still very much under wraps. Here briefly you can see a little overview of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome symptoms that are here, but I talked about them as well, about the ones that I experienced, about those are the overall general consensus. Rodden Game, hello, how are you doing? I also wanted to let you know that tomorrow, well, in Australia, I guess it's today, but on the 12th of May, it is an official day for hashtag millionsmissing, and you're going to see more and more selfies posted on social media across the globe, as well as pictures of shoes. That's right, pictures of shoes is a hashtag millionsmissing, because so many people are unable to participate in their daily lives, or even just activities that they love because of the chronic illness that they have. So the ways you can support this cause is one of them, and some of them you already did, is to share this live stream to let other people know that they can rewatch it. It's going to be available on our page, but also to post your own selfie with a hashtag millionsmissing, or to post a pair of your shoes with a hashtag millionsmissing. And if you suffer from chronic illness, letting know what kind of activities in life are you missing because of the illness that you have. And of course, you can also update your social media profile. You can go to Millions Missing, a filter of Tweebon. Tweebon support Millions Missing 2019, and it's going to give you a little filter overlay for your Facebook or Twitter with a hashtag Millions Missing to let know that you're supporting the cause. And of course, just talking about it, trying to voice what is going on with you, trying to voice and understand what is going on with people around you is also the way to raise awareness as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed chatting with you. It was a little bit weird, and I don't know where my husband is. It was a little bit weird to be without him here. Usually there are two of us. But he was graciously enough to set this up for me here. Gracious enough to paste this up for me here. And I'm really thankful for help, because OBS is not my thing to do here. I'm better in the chat. Isn't that right? Hi Country Fly Life says, I work with someone that has your condition. She finds it tough going at work. Yes, there's lots of people who apply for the disability option as well, if they can, depending where they are. I know I haven't done that, so I don't know exactly how that part works, but I know the ones who have, that it is really a tough thing to do through because of all the paperwork and things that you have to do in order to get that, but it is an option. So if that's something that she can be looking into. Thank you so much for joining me today. Yo-Yo Mix, thank you. And please, if you can leave a comment after on the live stream, I would really appreciate that. If you learned something, if there's something you still want to tell us, I would really appreciate that. It changes nothing. We still love you. We thank you for making people aware. It helps to know that you're not alone when suffering from these issues. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dark One. And thank you. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much. Thank you for those of you that came and was joining me here today. That is amazing, to be able to use this platform to raise awareness about something that is very close and personal. And I'm really thankful that we have this platform, that we can talk about issues that can influence other people and hopefully help somebody as well. That's part of YouTube and being on social media that I like about. And I really appreciate being given this platform to talk about it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you can check us out tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, our regular schedule, on a shout out game night. As always, 7 p.m. Eastern is going to be on, as always, tomorrow on Sunday. Today was our out of the regular day with a hashtag millionsmissing, raising awareness across the globe for chronic illnesses, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, telling my story, educating, and just raising awareness about what might be going on with a person sitting right beside you. Thank you, Dia Fadilas in Vegas. Thank you so much. And Kyla and Michael, hello. I'm about to finish my live stream. I would ask my husband to join me for a minute, but I think he might be asleep, so I don't know. Thank you for sharing personal things that aren't easy to share. If we could all be so strong. Thank you so much. Thank you. I do appreciate that. This is my second year talking about it in a little bit different way than I did last year. The stream from last year is available up above in a little card if you want to see a little bit more into symptoms and more of a technical part of it and all the descriptions and all of that and a little bit of my story, and see a difference of how I adjusted throughout the year to my changes. So thank you so much for joining me. Simply Shannon, Fishing Dream, Kyle and Michael, Sticky Buzz, thank you. High Country Fly Laugh, Yo-Yo Bigs, thank you so much. Thank you so much again for joining me. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. If you are celebrating, celebrate life. If you don't have mother in your life or you are not mother yourself, it is life that we're celebrating tomorrow. Love you all so much. And if I can find how to finish this, that also would be great. Okay. Okay. So love you all. Mwah. See you tomorrow.